I have to remember to turn on the record button. I got a checklist now. I've got that. Oh, yeah, if you want to ask questions, *2 to raise your hand. Let's see. Do this. There we go. That's working. I'm waiting on Rockstar, but I can do a few things in the meantime. Okay. Welcome to the Wing It call. Today is March 11th, and by golly, we're not talking about, from now on, we're not talking about rates, we're not talking about dates. If you're wanting to hear about that, you're not going to hear it here today or any more about that. So just being upfront with that. Hope you can appreciate that. Disclaimer, everything on this call is rumor until verified on your own. All disclaimer, we're not tax attorneys, lawyers, financial advisors, and my personal favorite, I am not your mother or your father, so I can't give you good guidance. We are only talking about things that we hear about, and we're not responsible for anything that you take as gospel in here, because it is not. Do your own due diligence. What else? Let me see here. Oh, the website is down just for a little bit. We're doing some maintenance to it, but it will be back up later on today. My apologies for any inconvenience. It was an unforeseen error with the website. Working with GoDaddy right now to get it rectified. It'll be up in no time. What else? Let me check this. Awesome. That's working too. First things first. Let me go down here. And Art, I'm going to let you kick it off.
Well, if you can't talk about rates or dates, what is there to talk? What do you want me to talk about?
Well, how about your experiences in life that got you to this point, and possibly, I don't know, maybe some little juicy tidbit that you could share that doesn't fall underneath that category?
Well, there's not too many things. I don't know. It'd take too long to talk about my life. Nobody wants to hear that boring subject, for sure. But no, I don't know. We've been there for how many days have we said now we're there, and we're not. Everything's, I think, centered today on Nancy's funeral. It sounds like going to be on TV and all that. And I got one thing here said it's today at 2:00. Another thing said something about 8:00 tonight. I don't know when her funeral is or when it's on TV, but I guess a lot of people will be paying attention to that. Last night they paid attention to the I guess what do you call it, the debate and the arguments, whatever you want to call that thing. And other than that, we all thought once again, of course, we were going to wake up to our instructions, and so we're still in that. We're still in that same thing, still in that same time frame. That's all I can say. But I don't know. There's not a lot of information today, really. We didn't get much, as you know. As such, so I don't know, just a lot of confusion, I guess, with people in that Republic thing and what happened and didn't happen and all that good stuff, and there's explanations for all that. Most people wouldn't even understand them, I don't think, if you tried to explain them to most people, so we won't do that. And other than that, I think everybody ought to be concentrating on what they're going to do with their money once they get it, and make sure you have somebody to, make sure you have a lot of professional help in getting attorneys and accountants together, whatever it's going to take, a team of people to help with the money, because if the kind of rates they've been talking about are any indication, and you have a lot of that one particular currency that nobody thought nothing about a year ago. I never wanted to buy none of it. They brought that out. I said, well, they're talking about 3 cents or something on that currency. Who wants to buy a bunch of that? That's not going to be nothing. And I never even wanted to buy any. Wound up buying a little bit and then a little bit more, but now we understand it's going to be some stupid rates and the possibility of. And so I'd say if that's the case, and if we all wind up with a lot more money than we ever dreamed about, mind-blowing type of money, why, I'm afraid a lot of people that don't have a team put together or have a way to get a team put together are going to be so lost with so much money, it's going to, I don't know, probably destroy them or something. It's just hard to imagine the kind of money we're talking about. None of us have ever probably had that kind of money, so I can give the same advice everybody else has been giving. Make sure you start searching for a good team of people that'll steer you in the right direction. Make sure you make the right investments and give a lot of money away. Get a lot of charitable type places. We got a big list, I know, and a lot of people do. And yesterday was kind of interesting. They arrested those 2 heads of the Wounded Warriors program for, I guess, spending where they shouldn't have $800 million or something like that. That's amazing. And there was questions, I know, about that. A few days ago, we ran into one of our people asking some questions about how do we know that if we give money to that outfit, all of it's going to get to where it needs to go. And I guess the proof was right there when they arrested those 2 fellows. And of course, there's some other organizations that you wouldn't want to give to, and I think we went over them before, where the leaders get extraordinary amounts of money and then very little goes to the project itself. And so you got to be careful who you give to. So there's so many places that need money and are good to give to, and so everybody should be making up lists, I think, of places where you're going to give a lot of that money away. You're going to have so much money you can never use it in your lifetime or your heirs' lifetime. So there will be plenty for your heirs, but you'll have so much to be able to give away. I think everybody needs to be making a list of what they can do, where they're going to give it, and who they're going to help. I think that's the major thing I'd like to say today. And if that makes sense, I think that makes sense. And that's about all I can contribute today then.
What about your team? What kind of team are you going to gather around you post RV for help?
Well, of course, you know yourself what team I'm going to have, because it's just a team of people that are going to kind of find everybody for me that needs to be found, to whether it be attorneys, accountants, security. One of the main points that was brought up is security, because and making sure that nobody knows who you are. If you've got the kind of money we're talking about, you better have for instance, I'm going with privacy abroad as far as the internet, getting rid of Gmail and all those. I want something. Privacy abroad is out of Switzerland. We all, I think, know about that or have heard about it. And then making sure that nothing comes to your address. Get a post office box like most people suggested. Either the post office or UPS has a similar situation where you can pay quarterly and you have to go there to pick up your mail. But then again, you may be able to have some kind of, with the kind of money we're going to have, I'll have somebody go pick up my mail and do any kind of running around needs to be done, really. And security type people, you need to have some security around you, because in the past you've seen in the movies and on TV where some rich person, their kid gets picked up for ransom, or the wife does, or whatever the case might be. Well, that could be a very real thing with this world we live in. If you don't have proper protection, you don't know what's going to happen. So you have to make yourself unknown. You want to own nothing and control everything through your entities, your trust, or foundations, or whatever the case might be, and that way nobody knows who you are. All they know is a trust name or some kind of entity name, and they won't tie in with you actually, and that's very important. And we've all heard a lot about this on open mic call, and through Ray Wren and Tony and just about all the calls that you're on, Bruce's call, doesn't matter. We've all heard a lot about all this, and now it's time when this happens, and next hope day or two, when we walk out of that bank with that receipt, and if you've got hundreds of millions of dollars or a billion or two or whatnot, I mean, that's just unheard of, and I guess all we can say is that I bet you Donald Trump has a lot of security around him at all times, or all these other billionaires. I think they must have some kind of security around their family, or all the people in the Shark Tank, for instance. I bet they've all got families and children, and I'll bet they have all kind of protection so that their families are totally protected. So I think that's one of the main things everybody needs to think about, because things you never had to think about before. You're going from rags to riches, basically, in this situation, and just a lot to think about. And so you don't want to, you may buy your new cars, your new home. You don't want to flaunt it, and let everybody know you got a new house and new cars and all that good stuff, and just kind of keep it on the low. And so, yeah, the security team that we're going to be able to put together, from what I've been told, is pretty darn good. They're going to vet everybody, whether you hire security or whether you're hiring attorneys or accountants or a housekeeper, a gardener. You don't know what those kind of people are going to do unless they're vetted properly to make sure they don't have a prior record, or they're thieves, or they've been in jail or whatnot. So the type of situation we have is where they will all be vetted ahead of time before we ever would hire somebody, to know that we can trust them. And I think that's really important. Like I say, in the movies in the past, you've seen where, the butler, it turned out to be a thief, and he's the one that kidnapped the people's son or daughter. And kind of, when you stop and think about that, a lot of that could be true if you don't prepare properly. So I guess that's the best advice I can give. I'm going to have to learn to do a lot of that myself. I've never had to do any of that stuff, and at my age, I don't intend to do a lot of heavy work myself, but I'll sure be able to afford to hire people to do it for me and make sure we're well taken care of. And then it's with me having 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren, I want to make sure I develop generational wealth so that whatever we have doesn't go by the wayside. Not only do we give plenty of it away, but we make sure that our family will be well taken care of for hundreds of years to come, or however long this earth is here. We're here as a human population. You want to make sure that's handed down to your children, grandchildren, and so everybody won't have to work as hard in the future. So anyway, I guess that's about it on that score.
Thank you very much for that.
All righty.
I've got some I want to talk about, but I'm waiting for Iko to come in. But I want to say this. Let me back up here. I'll say this. Things are moving. We're reading about it out there. Yes, I have been counseled to be careful about what I'm saying and talking about. So is everybody else in Dinar land. Everybody. And when Tony talked about it, yes, but I'm still going to bring you what I can. Like I said, we're not going to talk about dates or rates. But as you heard Art say, when you go in, you're going to get your pants shocked off of you and jumping out of your bib overalls. And hopefully we're there this weekend. So I want to go over and just refresh some of the things that we've talked about. And everybody, get your pencils ready, everybody. I'm going to give you an email address for Richard, the trust guy. Let me see if I can find it here. And go directly to him. Don't send any more emails to the Masters website. We're going to go directly to him. And Robert's email address is Richard. There it is right there. Richard's email address for the people that have been emailing masters, send it to this email address. It's rth6996@gmail.com. That's R, T is in Tom, H is in Henry, 6996@gmail.com. And that way it will help expedite, because when you go to masters, it's slowing the process down, and he can help you out a little bit quicker. And this is for the people that have been filling out applications. Send it to that email address. You want me to say it one more time? Okay. rth6996@gmail.com. Got that one? My checklist there. I've done the disclaimer. Okay. Oh yes, and that typing you heard, yeah, that was me. Right. If I can type that fast with two fingers, because that's all I use is all I can use is just two fingers. Let's see. Not yet. Okay. The special caller will not be here today. He is on assignment. I know where he's at. I'm not going to say. He sent me a screenshot of where he was, and I was like, okay. Interesting to say the least. And Rockstar, are you here yet? He is not here. All right, well, I'll carry it on my own then. Does everybody remember when Tony had some guy named Mike? Oh, what is his name here? Let me see if I can find that. Not there, not there. Mike, come on, Mike, what is your name? I'm going to give you your 5 minutes of fame here. Maybe 10. Mike, where is your name at? That's not it. I'm getting there. I'm slow. I'm checking I got a text. I'm trying to find it. Because I want to make sure I get this right. Because I definitely don't want him to miss out. There it is. Mike Diston, Diston, causing Tony a bunch of headache. Also causing a lot of other people headaches. And that's all he is just a headache. So here's your 5 minutes of fame. The website belongs to me, a.k.a. Jerry Maguire. All correspondence can be sent to me at getcall@gmail.com. Hope that works for you. You don't scare me. You're nothing but a blight or a wart on the butt of humanity. There's your 5 minutes of fame. Or a pimple on the butt of humanity. So, Mike Diston, Jerry Maguire is in full control of the website. If you got some issues, contact me there. Please. There you go. We got that little tidbit out of the way. What else? Let me send a text here. No, that's not the wrong person. That's exactly what was sent to me. Oh, what? Okay, my bad. Yeah, Mike Diston or whatever your name is, Jerry McGuire at the WINGIT call at gmail.com. Hope that helps you out. Let's go to our first caller here. Stephenville, Texas, 254. Come on down. Stephenville, Texas, area code 254. You have your hand raised. Last four of your phone number is 1957 in Stephenville. There you go.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
I took my hand back down, but I guess it didn't go.
You don't.
I don't really have a whole lot to say. I was going to jump y'all's frame, but I'm going to back off that.
Was going to what?
I said I was going to jump y'all's frame, but I'm going to back off from that and just continue to listen. It's all good.
Oh, no. If everybody has this is a transparent site. If you've got complaints, I don't mind listening.
Well, no, I don't know as I do. I mean, I had a real problem with some of the information the other day, but I guess I'll get over that.
And I understand it didn't come to fruition, and so it. But I can tell you this much. Behind the scenes,
I was just going to defend ICO.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
I'll put your hand down for you. My screen is slow today. I don't know why. Let us go to the person with the most knowledge. Miracle Queen, girlfriend, come on down.
Hi, sweetie. How are you? I just
pretty good today.
But I wanted to ask a question. I hear some bonds are going to be coming out on the 16th. Do we have to have an RV before then?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. I wish I could. That's above my pay grade.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. You know, and I forgot about my friend down here. Philip, I am so sorry. Go ahead, Puerto Rico. Philip, in Puerto Rico, go ahead.
I'm working on it. I've got to figure out how to work the mute button on the telephone. You got to be smarter than the telephone, Jerry.
Thank God mine's got a big red button on it that says mute. That's the only way I know about it.
I thought Big Red meant donate. Oh, my goodness.
No.
Transparency. A lot of things are going on in the background that we are not privy to know. We don't need to know. All we need to know is that we own currency. In the meanwhile, not talking about rates or dates, but they are talking about you guys. Let me give you a hint. Okay, there's one big bank that last night and the night before called in their entire nationwide wealth managers division to their home branch for briefings and trainings on protocols of a currency exchange. That's one big branch of a bank that holds no derivatives. Okay, this is a good point of knowledge. Another thing that went on was, and this is only a rumor, all things could be considered as rumor on the WINGIT call. Some of it knowledgeable and some of it, well, none of it made up. but you can't. You have to be smarter than that. I can't make this stuff up. Let's see. The rumor is that there was a technical glitch in the recordings that Paul Ryan was supposed to use last night for his stuff, and that was the rumor. However, the technical glitch was, and they're flying low over my house today. Wow. I heard that somebody had sabotaged the resignation videos that went for Joe Biden and Obama. This is not old news. It's gone around the mill once or twice. The other thing is, Draghi took a bazooka last night full of money and blasted it into the gold market. And the EuroCAD went up.
Who did?
600.
Who did?
Draghi.
Oh, the EU the EU president.
Okay, Draghi put a bazooka into the gold market for 3 hours, raising it 600 points within 3 hours. Right? This gold manipulation is just a shiny thing. Hey, y'all, look over here while they're doing something over there. Well, at the same time, the ISX was running for that 3 hours, and the currencies had to be stopped because the price manipulation, they wouldn't allow it, so they stopped it. So this is a good thing for currency holders because you guys don't want them to be able to manipulate you anymore. Well, it seems to me, this is only my opinion, that they had found a way to manipulate under the new system, but they were caught as fast as they got started. So, moving on.
Philip, do you hear that beep? Are you recording this?
I am not. Do you want me to hang up and come back in?
No, because it doesn't matter, because this is the last couple of calls, we hear it beeping all the time, so I'm just letting you know, just like it's being recorded.
Well, that's usually they operate on a joint basis. So Ellis and Richardson out of Alaska is usually who does that. That's where they operate most of that. So anyway, okay, and then there was one last thing. Oh, and yes, yesterday there was some private exchanges done on the Indian reservation. We're not supposed to know about that, but we do. So, having said that, I think that we're heading in the right direction, folks. Keep the faith. Jerry, back to you.
Thank you very much, Philip. Rockstar, I see that you made it.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm here. I just had to unmute.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry I'm late. I was on another call.
Would you like a little summation?
Summary? Yes, I would.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. I did the disclaimer. Art talked a little bit about, what type of team he's assembling, which we've talked about that, but needed somebody else's viewpoint. I was talking about Tony's heckler. If you want to throw a little in there too, I called him out, gave him his 5 or 10 minutes of fame, gave him my email address. I'm in full control of the website, and that was it. Unless you'd like to throw him underneath the bus.
He came on to this call, or are you talking about before?
I'm talking about before.
Oh, okay.
I'll explain it later why I'm giving him his 10 minutes of fame.
Okay. All right. That's 10 minutes too much.
Okay.
In my opinion. So.
Well, I just want him to know if he's got any complaints, he can come over here and see me.
Right. How many people are on the call right now and on the web?
Got 500. We're maxed out on callers, and we have 2,300 people on the webcast.
Okay.
And
All right.
want to thank everybody for coming.
Yes, and I guess what you guys probably need to know is how close everything appears to be. We as Intel providers are getting gag orders. They're coming in the form. They're coming as informal threats at the moment. But everybody's being asked to keep their mouth shut and just let it happen. Everybody's saying it's happening right now. No times as to when we're going to get notifications. No information on rates is to be given out, but we all know approximately where the rates are at. All of that is still in place. We're all in a really, really good place. And I think that's what I want to communicate today is that regardless of where you stand on the politics of this event and the nature of it, the history of it, what you think is going to happen after it begins, we all won. That's it. We all won. Stay calm, you stay cool, you follow the plan. And the plan has been stated over and over and over. Just stick to it. Keep it simple. Don't get paranoid about the banks. The banks are here. Yes, they're here to make money, but they're also here to make you money, because the more money you leave with them, the more you like them and leave your money, that goes right to their bottom line. And they're looking for that, especially post-RV. They want to come out of here looking golden, like they are solid as the Rock of Gibraltar. And the way they're going to do that is by convincing you to leave your money in their bank. Personally, don't believe any of the nonsense about them taking your money, raiding your accounts, doing all that. The economic system is going to be very strong post-RV. It may not be what we want it to be at the end of the day, but it's going to be strong, and there are plans out to transition it in an intelligent and stable manner. Doesn't mean you shouldn't go diversify. Doesn't mean you shouldn't look into offshore accounts. Doesn't mean you shouldn't, fly over to Singapore and open up an account with the Bank of China. Doesn't mean any of that. Doesn't mean you shouldn't be talking to Swiss banks. What it means, though, is that there's no reason to panic and do anything out of haste. Get the information, talk to the experts, find somebody you think you can be friends with down the road to advise you, and then just start implementing their advice step by step. There's going to be a lot of folks out there who are going to look at this from the old way of thinking, but there are also going to be people out there who have been turned on to the RV and the GCR and all of the past politics and manipulations, and they're going to be co-creating the new economic reality along with us, along with PTB, who have realized the old way doesn't work for them. And guess what? They're out there. They're even out there in the Rothschild family, from what we're hearing. It's not this solid block of evildoers, to coin a phrase, that it once was. People are changing their minds. People are taking in the new information and coming up with their own conclusions. And that's really all I have to say there, because there really isn't any new intel. There's some talk out there that there may not be 800 numbers. So you know what? That's a possibility. Just think about what you would do if there's no 800 numbers. Chances are you're going to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who gave them a contact at a bank. So you're going to be able to get your exchange appointments. Don't panic. One thing we are or I am reasonably sure of, is the security is so tight at the exchange centers, you will not get in there without an appointment from the bank, which means they're going to have you on a list. They're going to have all of your pertinent information. You're not going to get into an exchange center. You can't crash the party. You got to go through channels. So just be methodical about it. You know, if you were looking for a good plumber, what would you do? You know, you'd ask a friend. You'd Google the yellow pages. You'd get there. Is my point. Don't panic if it turns out they're not going to give out 800 numbers. And also, don't sit back and wait at the same time. You've got to be direct and focused about getting in to do your exchange. I guess that's all I got to say.
So here, I want to play devil's advocate. I'm going to be a little rednecky about it. So we've heard for so long that they're trying to avoid chaos.
Right.
Now, who the hell does that make sense to not give out 800 numbers, crash the 800 number system for the banks, create chaos? And if they don't want to do that, I want to say, what the hell are they thinking? That's stupid. That's going to make more chaos. And then in my opinion, this is just my opinion, once chaos starts, they'll go, oh, we got to stop the process. It's too crazy out there. You know, they're going crazy. Stop everything. And then they're going to say, well, we opened it up to the public. This is just my thinking, really thinking outside the box. But for them to do something like that, it's like falling on their own sword.
Okay, so there's an assumption. There's an assumption
right
there, Jerry. There's an assumption that the existing 800 number system can't handle the traffic.
Right.
Right? Okay. So what if they've already gone ahead and talked to all the major carriers and beefed up their own internal 800 number system and subcontracted option 4 foreign currency exchange so that there are enough operators to handle the traffic? And what if they just don't want, maybe they don't want the initial deluge. Maybe they want it to take a day for people to figure out where to call. Just
Absolutely
so they can ramp up. That, I mean, I'm not saying these are world-class banks. You gotta. I can't imagine that somebody didn't mention this and that they've got it set up, that they've thought this through. I mean, they've had, ever since our Twitter campaign, they've had, 3 years now to rethink the fact that they're no longer handling 1.5 million, 2 million people, but, they're handling 6 to 12 million people. I can't imagine a multinational corporation not planning on that, because they are all about their bottom line. They are all about what we call in manufacturing throughput. Throughput is the key to making money when you're trying to process a product. Remember a few weeks ago it came out that they want us to be in and out in 20 minutes, and that they're giving their exchange people a bonus every time they process somebody under 20 minutes.
I don't know about you, but I don't think they can process me in 20 minutes, not unless they've got one of those,
Maybe you.
No, rock star. I was really talking about you.
Well, I'm real simple. I'm just going to sit down and say, I've negotiated with Donald Trump, so give me the best rate now, or we're going to have a really unpleasant meeting. We'll take it from there. No, all kidding aside, remember, there's only a couple of million of us that have really large amounts. And then there's 1 million that have really large amounts, and then there's 500,000 who have ridiculously large amounts, and then there's 10,000 who, come on, you're telling me you really bought that much currency? Everybody else has 25,000 to 100,000, according to the USG statistics, and they are monitoring this. They are regulating this traffic. So, and that's why they're calling the general public exchange for, I think it's after the 21st or after the 24th. I think it might have been changed to the 4th because we're starting so late. The Internet
right.
group and the Admirals group and the Wells Fargo group. I got a feeling they got this sorted out, and I keep hearing more reinforcement about not announcing an 800 number. Maybe they're going to do that for the public down the road, but certainly nobody's going to need an 800 number in the Admirals group to find out about this. And anybody who's a Wells Fargo group member, their emails on file, so that takes care of them. So now they've got us intel folk, you know. And if you tell one TNT member, I'd say 90 minutes tops. All 20,000 are going to know about it.
Well, and let me. I know that people are wondering about this, Iko, because I'm trying to give everybody enough information so that when we start asking questions, I've taken care of the basic ones. Yes,
right.
I'm still going to tweet out the code word.
Right.
And that's
yep.
Unless I have been instructed otherwise by somebody that's way up the food chain, I'm going to tweet out the code word, and that may be the only thing I tweet out, and then you'll know what to do from there.
Yep. Sure. Well, what is I forget the actuarial formula. Another example is there's a chat site I belong to. I'm not going to name it, but I did a mental addition in there one day, and just the 20 or so active people on that site have close to 1,000 other people they talk to as their own little mini groups. And so take 1,000 people. How long does it take to get the information to them? And then how that grows exponentially? I don't know what the formula is. Maybe somebody out there knows. But there are, Tony used to mention it. There's 20,000 people on the call, and I think they had a reach of 1.6 million? Maybe somebody remembers that exact figure. But by the end of the day or the following morning, 1.6 million people knew about the gist of what was on the call. So that's how fast it spreads. And maybe that's what they're counting on. Maybe they felt, you know what, why reinvent the wheel? We got enough capacity here with our current system. We can subcontract. I mean, there are companies over in India and the Pacific Rim who, if you're doing an event, you call them up and say, I expect foot traffic of whatever, 5,000 people, and you got it set up right then and there. They just pump those numbers into their computers, and they've got operators standing by. And it's not that hard to train somebody to ask where you live, how much currency do you have, and then look up a corresponding exchange site. So I think the lack of an 800 number just might be a possibility. I don't think it's a reason for panic.
Excuse me just a minute here. I'm responding to an email.
Okay.
So I guess I can, I'm not mentioning any names, and so I want to, so I just replied about, am I almost a whale? So this person emailed me and said, I have 15 million dinar, 70 million dong, and I got 460 TZM. Does that make me almost a whale? And I replied, nope, a medium shark.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. But I also would put out that according to the UST, they're in the top. Is it 15,000 or 10,000?
10,000.
10,000. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. I'll get back to that in a minute. That's a long one to read. Oh, and the website is thewingitcall.com. That's thewingitcall.com. Somebody's asking about the website. That's it right there. And then if you follow on the tweets, I'll tweet that out here in just a little bit. But it'll be back up and running. Maintenance issues right now. Do we want to take some questions? Oh, hey John, did you want to impart some wisdom and knowledge to everybody? You've got a bucket full there occasionally.
I'm just sitting and listening, thank you.
Now you can't be a lurker, John. You've
Why
got
not?
great counsel. You have good counsel from time to time.
Well, yeah, I'm really just ready to get on a different ride, and as far as I've put together a financial plan of sorts. I used to do that for a living, but very simple, and we can talk later, and I can send you a kind of a drawing of it, an idea, without giving any details that I have or anything like that. You can put it out to anybody. It's just an idea. The old rule of thumb that I know about money is you don't eat your seed corn, and especially if you intend for it to last, and that's kind of the plan that I put together, but it's pretty simple to follow, and I can explain any part of it to anybody, and be happy to draw that up and make it available to you, send it to you in an email or something like that, so you can get your email address to me or something, or whatever. But really, that's really, I don't have anything else to say right now. Just like ready, like everybody else. But you know, the old saying is that if you don't make a plan, you're planning to fail. So if you get a plan set forth that you can say, okay, I can follow this, then the idea of like the lottery mentality afterwards setting in, it's going to be less likely, I hope. So anyway, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, John. I liked, and this is not to offend anybody. I'm an old construction worker and a lot of things, but one of the job sites that I worked at, the foreman, he was a real hard ass. But as long as you did what he requested, there were no problems, and he wasn't requesting anything other than do your job and do it right. But he had a little sign on his door called the 6 P's. And the P's are: proper planning prevents piss-poor performance. I'll say that again. Proper planning prevents piss-poor performance. And boy, was he right, because when you're a welder, or when he was a general contractor, so you know how that goes. Let's see here, we got some background noise. I think we got it taken care of there. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to take some calls here. Oh. Hey, WebTrack, I just unmuted you. It says Walt. Hello. Well, let's take care of that. So it was off the web. Name is Walt. I'll come back to you in a minute when you get the background noise killed out there. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 918. Come on down.
Yes. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Am I on?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for taking my call. I wanted to come on today I don't mean any disrespect at all, what I'm going to say. In respect to the last call, I want to come out and compliment Iko on everything he said on the Joseph email that was read. And prior to that, anyone listening, when Joseph came on, I remember, Jerry, you took a call and you were asked, where did this guy come from? And you honestly said, I don't know. And I'll take my hat off to you. That did not come to pass. I agree with Iko. It's all fantasy. And, Jerry, I think you knew that. But you did Joseph a favor by reading it, because earlier, 2 weeks earlier, you said, I don't know where he came from. And when you said that, that was your gut talking to you. And what have you all taught us on this call? I don't care about the rates or the dates at all. What you all have brought to us pre-RV, during RV, is discernment and wisdom.
Thank you, sir. I greatly
That's all
appreciate
I have
that.
to say.
And Iko,
you all, does Iko have a comment?
If he unmutes himself, I'm sure.
Actually, I do. I thank
I'm
you
all
for
ears.
that. I thank you for that compliment. But I also want to say that this is our America, everybody's. And I'm glad that that conversation and that group of people make themselves heard. Quite frankly, I wouldn't have known about the Republic if they hadn't. And I like the architecture. I just didn't think the planning was appropriate.
Well,
and
you're right. And my father was in the advertising public relations industry for 40 years.
Okay.
And he consulted with a firm in New York. He was so good, he opened up not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row, the General Assembly on the UN, and the topic was public relations in the third world. And you hit the nail on the head. But saying what you said, I agree with you. It's a free country. Everyone can say what they want. But here's what I thought about. Think of this. We've gone through this Sterling thing, and someone that learned that, and I know this has happened. I know it for a fact. Then just picture this. You got some elderly person, man or woman, they're counting on this. And then that kind of news comes out. Yes, everyone has the right to free speech, but what was said on this, what if someone hearing that would have killed over and died? That is morally wrong. Any way you cut the cake. But in the end, you all were smart enough to see the deception, and anyone listening to you, what have we learned? Forget about post-RV. We've learned discernment and wisdom, because post-RV, don't you think everyone's going to be at your doorstep wanting you to invest in this and this and this? Hell, we've learned the lesson right now, thanks to you guys. That's it. It's real simple, very fundamental. And once you get away from the fundamentals in anything, that's when you get in trouble.
Okay.
Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, guys, if I can make a general statement. I think what that last caller just expressed is probably something a lot of people feel. Personally, I would like to move on. I think we have more important, pressing. Excuse me, that's not correct. That's wrong. Let me just say. I think he spoke to it well, and I think that it's now 2 days later, and we've got even more important things to talk about. That's the nature of this venture. It's very fluid, very fast moving. So I don't want to shut anybody down, but we've only got so much time on this call. So if you've got, if there's other topics out there that need to be discussed, let's look at them. Let's give them just as much as importance. I'm saying that wrong, but I hope you get my meaning. That's it. Jerry, did you disappear?
Oh, hell, I'm talking to myself, and I muted myself.
Oh, yeah. We had dead air. That's a big no-no.
Yeah. Miami, Florida, 786. Come on down.
Hi, guys. You hear me?
How you doing? Yes.
Hi. Jerry, thank you for the call. Iko?
Yes, sir. Whoops, hold on.
Pleasure to meet you.
I don't mute myself. Okay, I'm unmuted now. Sorry. Go ahead.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure here.
Hey, guys. Jerry?
Yes, sir.
I just want to be blunt with my question. Can I? I mean, no, you'll see. It's easy. What's his name? Stage 2 Omega's post on Dinar Recaps today really blew me away. Can you guys comment on that? Are you aware of it?
Sure.
I'm not. Are you, Jerry? Because I'm not.
Yeah, I read a little bit about it. Look, if he thinks, bless his heart, he has his own opinion. But if he thinks it's going to be put off for a while or that the public is never going to exchange, then I suggest that he make arrangements to get out of this. How's that? If he's so adamant about that, then why is he still in here giving off information that he thinks is worthwhile? How does that help? Does that help you out?
In other words, go on with my day.
Absolutely.
Can I make a comment about that?
Please.
There was a time in this entire venture way back when an attempt was made by the people that are going out of power, let's say, to prevent the general public from exchanging. As I understand it, it went all the way to the Supreme Court justices, and basically they were told, no, that if you can do it, everyone else can also. So the idea of the public not exchanging, I believe, was forever thrown in the waste bin of the dinar world. So I think you need to put that thought out of your head completely. And anybody who's still trying to drum that up is trying to figure out a way that they can help you out of your dilemma. So I would just ignore it.
But he wrote it so intimidatingly, excuse that English, with all capital letters and 17 reasons. It was quite, whatever. This is a very big thing.
I was in sales for about 30 years, and I can tell you during my sales career, until I got a conscience, which came very early on because it was a kind of a financial thing, if you could fog a mirror, I could get a check out of you. So just take that for what it's worth. There are people out there, they have a good way with words, and they can sell you just about anything. Okay? Just take that to heart, and the idea of the public not exchanging was forever thrown into the dustbin of the dinar world, and I would just wouldn't pay any attention to anything else that person has to say either. And in my life, that's kind of where the fellow that you're talking about has gone. He's gone into the dustbin of the dinar world as far as I'm concerned. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, nobody's left the call yet, so I guess we're doing something right, Rockstar. Next, we're going to Fair Oaks, California, as soon as my board catches up here, to 916. Fair Oaks, California, 916. Come on down. Hello. Fair Oaks, California, 916. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. I can hear noise in the background, so you're unmuted. Hello. Goodbye. Roseville, California. Last four of your number is 4464. Come on down. Hello, Roseville, California. You're talking about cars in the background. Come on down.
And many generations beyond that, and what we're going to do. But I'm also looking for somebody who's not really attached in any way to the establishment. And one of the things.
Well, Gary, Indiana, you're up next. 219. Come on down.
Hello, Jerry. Thank you for taking my call. I have two questions. The first one is, will we be able to get the same deal no matter which bank we choose? Of the top tier.
I'm going to unmute Rockstar here. They all want your money. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to be comparable, but I'm going with Wells Fargo. Have from the get-go. They're the ones that seem to have their poo-poo together better than the rest of them. They want your money. Go ahead,
Jerry. I just ran into a little domestic problem here. Looks like one of my water bottles is leaking. I gotta attend to it. I'm lurking, but I'm gonna mute out for a moment.
Okay, I'll get you. Or go ahead and mute your end, and I'll leave you unmuted on this end. They want your money because it's bringing liquidity to their bottom line, and if you go in professionally dressed, whether it's in a suit or in Texas or even in Oklahoma, this applies, good starch jeans and boots, but with a pleasant attitude. And, up in Northeast, they've got the cardigans and the slacks and the penny loafer shoes. something, dress like that. Hell, I'd like to go in bib overalls, but I've been shot down on that one there. I like to go comfortable, but go in dressed appropriately, smile on your face, and just have a figure in your mind. And if they meet it, great. Smile, say I'll take that. If they don't, negotiate a little bit. This is like a used car salesman, or even a new one. Well, I've got to go back and talk to my manager. Well, we can do this for you. Great, but this is what I'm really looking for. But be professional about it. And if you still don't get what you like, you can always pick your currency up and go somewhere else. But they don't want to let you do that, because the money to their bottom line is what they want. Does that help you out?
Yes, it does. One other question. Is there a relationship between HSBC and Wells Fargo?
Yes.
I was told that Wells Fargo is 70% owned by the Chinese, and I was wondering if that had a connection with HSBC Bank.
I believe it does. I've heard that rumor. I've also heard that, they've upped it to 100%.
Oh, okay. Will we be able to exchange at HSBC here in the United States?
Now that I don't know. I'm sure they have one here in the U.S. You can call and find out when it's time.
I know they have offices in the Chicagoland area and none in Indiana, but I was considering either bank, HSBC or Wells, to do the exchange, even though Chase has been my bank for the last 20 years.
Right. I have an opinion about the Blue Bank, but I'm not going to voice it here. I've voiced it enough already. But, if HSBC owns Wells Fargo, use Wells Fargo.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much for answering my question.
Absolutely, and thank you for calling. Have a good day.
You too.
Let's see here. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, you're unmuted, and the next one will be Harrisonburg, Virginia. We've talked before. 540. Come on down. Harrisonburg, Virginia. 540. Come on down. Hello. Harrisonburg, Virginia. Area code 540. Well, I guess I'll give them a minute to try to unmute there. Harrisonburg, going once, going twice. Goodbye. Then we have Bend, Oregon, 541. Come on down. Bend,
is that
Oregon.
Me?
It is.
Wow. That's amazing. I have tried to get on these calls with Tony and with you. Thank you so much, Jerry, for picking up the slack. We were kind of floundering around there for a minute, and your calls are delightful. So thank you very much, and God bless all of you for what you're doing. My question today is, those of us that have been in this a while, like you have heard this, I guess it's what did you guys call it, to be silent? They don't want you guys to talk and share intel right now.
Gag order.
The gag order, yes, thank you. We've heard this a number of times over the years, and the intel folks, as you well know, did what you guys are doing right now. My question is, what makes this time different than all the other times before?
Rockstar.
Am I unmuted?
Yeah, oh yes.
Oh, okay. Wow, where do I begin? I'll tell you. There are the level of access has skipped about 2 tiers at this point. We meaning, you know, a certain group, are speaking to the people that Tony's people used to speak to. I mean, we're now talking to oil ministers, presidents inside certain banks,
wow,
legitimate boots on the ground. We're factoring in the market situation right now, which is a tremendous influence. We've also got a better handle on what the real story is. You know, the fact that this is a global event and there's 208 countries involved, and there are myriads of power structures that all had to coalesce and come into agreement. That sometimes we're getting information from bad guys and sometimes we're getting information from good guys, and now we know the difference.
Okay.
I mean, you name it. It's the general consensus is that it is 100% done, that we are now finally, even though they've used this as an excuse over and over the years, we are finally dealing with specific crowd control situations, fraud situations, supercomputer trading groups who can literally do 1 billion transactions in a nanosecond. That sounds incredible, but it's true.
Yeah, it does.
The level of intelligence has really gotten more sophisticated, and this is another reason why they've asked people. They've insisted on some people. They've asked other people to please tone down any specific prediction of when they hear it's going to go and what the rates are going to be, because they want to catch the last of the bad guys. Is what my opinion is. It's not so much that the bad guys are trying to stop it. It's more that the good guys are trying to manage it, and that's what we've bumped into. And I know there's people out there who would disagree with me, but that's my assessment. But I will tell you right off the bat, I believe that good will triumph. I don't believe that evil's always going to take the day. So that's where I
agree with that.
In that analysis, we really are. Here's the simplest explanation, at least the way it's been explained to me. This was all about coming up with an oil agreement that everyone could live for the next 100 years. Not that we're not going to get into alternative energy and all that, but oil is a very real commodity. Everybody uses it. Everybody depends on it. We had to stabilize how we're going to treat it for the next 100 years. Once that was stable, one of the ways that was going to become stable was if the world comes onto a currency that has parity, so that $1 equals 1 ruble, 1 yuan, 1 franc, 1 peso, you name it. Everybody was going to, maybe not exactly 1-to-1, but very similar. So the concept of becoming asset-backed again, an agreement on what asset-backed means, because it's not just how much gold you have. It's how many ships you have. It's how much raw materials you have. It's how much water you have. Big one now.
Wow.
That all had to be agreed to among all of the leading nations. So instead of just like a Kuwaiti thing, which was a piece of cake compared to the old days, You know, now it became a great big complicated thing that thousands of people had to get together on. And it appears everybody finally got together. So that's
Praise
where
God,
that's
I hope
where
they have.
Yeah. Well, I hope so too, but it really does get rid of the hype, get rid of the rumor mill, get rid of the conspiracy, get rid of the old way of looking at it, which I'll call the Kuwaiti model. You get rid of all that old information and look at it from a standpoint of what has occurred over since January of this year, and we're there.
Okay.
So
that's logical.
That's my 2 cents. I guess it's logical.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
I sent you a text.
Okay. I you know what? I always enjoy it. So
okay.
It's
all
up
right.
to you.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Big fish, come on down.
Jerry, how are you today?
I am feeling much better today.
That's great. And Heiko, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I was telling somebody earlier today, Fish, that instead of intellectually knowing that this is about to happen, I was feeling it in my gut, and I'm getting the same vibe from everybody I talk to. There's a heart connection today about the imminence of this that I haven't felt in a long time. So I'm feeling real good.
I'm hearing out of most people on the call, especially you guys, and my heart goes out to you guys, man. Hats off to all of you guys. You, Jerry, Eiko, Yosef, and special caller, Paul, and hats off to you guys. I don't know if I could do it. But you guys, you sound much better, composed today. Understandably, that must have been very difficult on the last call. But you sound a lot better composed today and more at comfort with what's going on. And that speaks loudly to people that are listening, because I'm hearing it.
Cool. Good.
One thing I wanted to say that, when, as Riley says, when I reach the other side of those zeros, this or that, what he's going to do, but when I reach the other side of those zeros, I'm going to do what Dizzy Bears told us and a lot of other people have told us. I'm going on vacation for an extended period of time. And I'm going to let the dust settle a little bit. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to put together a team. And I'm going to take your advice, Heiko. I'm going to spend a lot of money on those people, whoever they are, wherever I find them. They're going to be paid very generously, because I'm going to expect and demand that they do 110% for me. And if I got to pay for it, then I'm going to pay for it. And I don't know, in regards to what I want them to do, I've got some ideas in my head. But in the lieu of what we may be looking at, 6 months down the road, or 3 months down the road even, 90 days, there's a lot of variables in that. and it's too early in my mindset to cross that bridge yet. So that's kind of where I am.
Well, that's where I am too. Yeah, Fish, I can't poke any holes in that. That's what I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to sit in my proverbial rocking chair and watch it.
No, we hear this and that, everything in between about NESARA, what's going to happen there. We hear about all this money that's going to come to all the American people, thousands of dollars. You know, I don't know if any of it's true. I don't know if it's well, no. I'm just going to have to wait and see. Then, when all that stuff comes out to fruition, if it does, if it doesn't, then that's going to give me a better scope of things of, you know, where I need to put my money as far as humanitarian projects, you know. Like I said, I got some ideas, but those ideas could go one way or the other. Just depends on how things grow.
Yep, I'm just hoping that what everybody's hearing is the consistent message that you don't have to panic. You can take your time, but you need to be, at the same time, you need to be proactive and direct in the actions you take. You can't procrastinate. You can't let any of your old bad habits, and believe we've all got them. You can't let your old habits get in the way.
Hello?
Or you know, you got to be different. It's got to be different this time. You got to be a new. You're going to be on a new level of financial management in your own personal finances, and you gotta take the bull by the horns and start riding. Don't take on too big a bull.
Yeah, and
bad metaphor, but you get what I'm talking about.
There's like DC used to tell us, you know, there's like I think it was 5 levels of banking.
Yes.
He said that would be involved in, you know, all of us. Is that correct?
Yeah, and you know what, Fish, now that you mention that, something I've always wanted to say, if you've got access to all the old TNT calls where DC was talking, DC has said everything we need to know. Sometimes he said it in code, but he said it. And if you go back to all those phone calls and listen to his words of advice, whenever he actually gave direct advice, you'll find it's all there. You know, he was telling us what to expect. He was telling us how to act. He was telling us what to do. When he found out something that contradicted what he said before, he told us about it, like the Zim, perfect example. The day he came on and said, you know what, I think I'm going to buy a little Zim. And that's all he said, you know. And everybody who heard him, you know, all of a sudden, people were buying Zim. He was in my opinion, he was a wealth of information and also the point man for disinformation in those days. Okay?
Gotcha.
He had a job to do, you know, and he was answering to another boss. So he was both looking out for us and looking out for them, and he did a marvelous job of keeping that balance. He really did. But everything he said has come to fruition, every single thing.
Well, thank you, Aiko.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Jerry,
I don't know. Go ahead.
I don't know either. I gotta run. I gotta head out. So, hopefully I helped a few people today. And
absolutely.
And again, thanks for the support and all that good stuff. And maybe we won't have a call on Monday. Just real for sure, maybe.
Well, you know what?
That's what I'm thinking.
I like your thinking, and it's not stinking thinking, so I like your thinking.
It's not stinking thinking, yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right.
So,
bye, everybody. Yep. Let's
see you later.
See what happens. Okay, later.
Well, here we go. Let me do this. And Sherman, Texas.
Hey,
Come on
Jerry.
down.
Today it's soggy Sherman, Texas. We had so much rain it squishes.
Absolutely.
The gentleman that had the question about HSBC and Wells Fargo, HSBC stands for Hong Kong Shanghai Bank of China, and they are in bed with Wells Fargo, although it's not visible on the surface. You have to do some digging, and Wells Fargo, if you go down to the courthouse and you search for mortgages and deeds of trust showing Wells Fargo as mortgage holder, it's going to say Wells Fargo. But if they go on and foreclose on that note, they use HSBC to act as the trustee during that foreclosure process. So when the books are tallied up at the end of the month, Wells Fargo has no foreclosures. It's all done by HSBC, and they do a good job while they're at it. Nothing is left to chance. I'm not sure what the percentage of ownership or partnership is. I've heard the word cross-collateralization a lot in the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure they're talking about this particular relationship. Probably not. Oh, by the way, I have to do my disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an accountant. I don't play one on TV. I'm just a simple real estate broker in Sherman, Texas. But I do my homework.
Wait a minute. I thought you stayed at the Holiday Inn last night, and that makes it all okay.
It was all booked up. And the weather was
okay.
awful, so I was forced to stay home.
Well, you know what? There's that other one. They left the light on for you at Motel 6. It's
you know what? We don't even have one up here. We're so little in Podunk, we don't even rate a Motel 6.
All
That's
right.
how far down the beanpole we are. But, you know, somebody earlier today said there is a big bank, Tier 1 bank, that has no derivatives. The only one I can think of would be Fifth Third, and we don't even have those here. And I'm not even sure that's correct. I cannot think of one Tier 1 bank that does not have any exposure to derivatives. So whoever brought that in, I wish they would send you a PM or send me one so I can do some research on them, because I'd like to know who they are. And with that, I'm out, and thank you so much. Pray for sunshine.
Okay. Drop
Thanks.
your hand. So we're going to Patty on the web.
Hello.
Patty on the...
Hi.
How you doing? Good.
Good.
How are you doing?
Very good. Thanks for taking my call. I tuned in a little late. I just have one quick question, and then I want to make another comment about HSBC. Did you say that we may not be getting the 800 numbers?
ICO did, so we need to be flexible in our plans.
Okay. Well, that's what I did today. I did a little, I guess I did a little phone calling here. I started yesterday with HSBC. I live in the Buffalo area, and we have 2 HSBCs, and they are warehouses. They are not banks. They store files, but everything is behind closed doors, locked doors. I used to bank there. I used to have my mortgage there. No one will talk to you. It's bizarre. I mean, it is really bizarre. So that was my first step yesterday, and then today I got online and I made a phone call, and bingo, I connected, and I got a hold of a wealth manager, very low-level wealth manager, and behold, he was from the Buffalo area behind that locked door. And I talked to him a little bit and told him about my currencies And I could hear him drool. And then he said, wait a minute, I need to bring in a senior wealth manager. He's on the phone right now, and I'll call you right back. And he did within 15 minutes. And I'm looking at, I've had 2 emails from them so far. And the title of the senior wealth manager is Vice President of Premier Relationship Advisor, HSBC. So we had quite a discussion about the currencies, and I have to thank you. I have to thank everybody on this call for the education that you've given us. I was able to go, I'm up there in age, and I tell you, I went toe-to-toe with these guys, and they pushed, and I was very respectful, and I was able to push back and hold my own. It was a great call. They want more information. I don't know if I will go with them, but it's great to have done my homework, because I come from a point of strength, and we'll see where it goes. But
I'm just glad we was able to bring a little information to you where you could push back a little bit, and now they know they can't push you around. So,
absolutely.
So if you happen to go somewhere where they're not, you know that your knowledge is just as much as the person sitting behind that desk, if not more.
Right.
When it comes time for an exchange.
He was talking about charging me a percentage for exchanging the currency. I mean, they acted pretty dumb about the currencies and exchanging, and I could tell the game, and I just said, with the amount of currency that we have here on the table, I can go somewhere else, and they just stopped dead in their tracks and just said, wait a minute here, So
well, I'm glad you brought that up, because the only thing that you can't get out of is the UST fee.
Exactly, and that's what I told them. I said, however, and they were throwing around the percentages. I said, that's negotiable, the UST, and they were impressed. They were very impressed with my knowledge. So I really have to thank you guys for educating us so well.
And thank you for the compliment. We tried.
You're welcome.
Let me say this. I'm just hosting the call, and everybody that calls on here is bringing in information. I'm just a clearinghouse. It's ICO, and it's everybody else. I'm just thankful to do this. Makes me happy.
Well, you're doing a great job.
Well, that and Blue Moon. Let's not forget. What do they call that? Grandpa's little helper.
We're all going to need one after this is over.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else, ma'am?
Thank you. No, thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
If you'll put your hand down.
Okay.
So, Hilton Head, South Carolina, 843. Come on.
I'm here. I have a question for ICO.
ICO is gone. You're
okay,
stuck.
Well, but...
You have reached the bottom of the barrel. It's me.
Let me throw it at you then, Jerry. I am a member of the Wells Fargo group. So we have a good idea what we're going to get instead of having to worry about bargaining about what we don't know that we're going to get because we're not part of a group. I have a fair amount of Zim. Now, when I go in, they're going to ask ahead of time, I believe, how much currency you have of every denomination, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the Zim, let's say that the contract rate that the Wells Fargo people get could be higher. Let's just make an assumption. Now, if that's the case, I want to use the Zim as a leverage factor to try and get that rate higher because I can leave a good amount of them at the bank. So how do I handle that situation? Because you can't tell them how much them you have ahead of time, or you tell them you got a certain amount and you hold some back, not telling them, and later in that same conversation you bring it in.
Just lay it all on the table there and say, before we count anything, after you've signed your NDA, then the negotiations can commence. Okay?
Well, again, so when you call the 800 number, aren't they going to ask you how much you have, correct?
Right.
Okay. So are you telling me I should, at that time, tell them exactly how much I have? Or,
because
or just a portion of it?
That determines where they're going to send you. Do you want to get sent to a teller at a local branch, or do you want VIP treatment?
You definitely want VIP treatment. That's for sure.
Well, there you go. Tell them what you got. Go in there in your starched bib overalls and your starched white shirt, and your polished up brogans, and say, "Hi, my name is Billy Bob, and I'm here to do a currency exchange. Let's talk."
Yeah. I also want to say I applaud Iko for his stance. It was terrific. So I wish he were on that he could hear it. But I'm sure you'll pass it along. And I'm sure everybody is. And, if you took a vote, I think you'd probably get 100% of the people standing behind him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your insight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. So let's see here. Next up, this slow-ass screen. Prescott, Arizona, 928. Come on down.
Hi, Jerry. I just have one question, and
No, you can't ask a question unless you got two today.
I'm sorry, I don't have to.
Well, all right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just wanting to know if this Paul Ryan and Republic thing has been put to rest, or was that for real?
I have no knowledge, and I can't answer that. I would like to. But without any direct knowledge, I can neither. I love this quote. This is a better quote than I've had a senior moment. I can neither confirm nor deny what your request is.
Well, you and me both. Well, I thank you then. I'm very concerned about it.
So I'm sorry, I was reading a text.
I said I thank you for, trying to answer it at least.
Well, I try.
Is there anybody on the call that might have some knowledge?
We're all kind of staying away from that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's all I have. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. So my next victim lives in Denver, Colorado, 303. Come on down.
Hi, Jerry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
All right. Well, you can see my name, so you know who I am. And
no, I cannot.
Oh, you can't? Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I am with the Sheriff's Department in public safety. And I hope that all the spies and big boys on this call will hear what I say. Michael brought it up, and I know he did it as a hypothetical, but I am not going to talk to someone in Timbuktu or India and give them how much I have and what my address is along with my name. Because all that has to be is relayed within seconds to someone, and they can be sitting in front of my house. So I hope they do something a little bit more secure than that.
If you call an 800 number, it's going to be the one you find off of the whatever bank's website, and And I agree with you totally from what you're talking about. And you bring up a good point.
Well, I have the sheriff come in to pick me up, to take me to the bank, so there's no license plate. But if you give this on the phone...
I have heard about you.
Yes. Hi. So
Wait a
I
minute.
could have my wealth manager call and say, dial this number, and I dial it. I don't know where I'm going to or if a foreigner's on the other end. I'm just hoping that the people listening in security and whoever's spying know that I'm not going to give that information. I'll have to figure out a different way if that's the only way. That's all I wanted to say.
Right. You know my former co-host, don't you?
I do, very well.
Uh-huh. That's why when you started relating your story, it jogged one of those blue moon brain cells. Yes.
Thank you for everything you guys do. I just wanted to put that out there. Because I know they are spying. Trust me. I just paid $200 to have 1,285 spy malware taken off my computer since I started going in here in December. Not on your site, but a different site.
Right.
So we know we were able to trace some of it back to that site. So I'm just telling everybody, those little avatars and the things that are written, be careful what you put out there because there are people watching.
That's why I don't have that's why I don't have a forum or a chat site. And working on getting my website fixed. But my website will be back up hopefully here in just a little bit. Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Let me go down here to Puerto Rico, where all the hot Latina women are. Philip, come on down. I bet you look good in your thong, don't you, Philip? Philip?
Green. Did you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's just a string. I think like that.
What do you got for us?
I wanted to say something about that Republic comment. Here's the bottom line. The United States has been a very powerful country for a very long time. And yes, it has been infiltrated from the inside by a certain sect group. And there's a bunch of people like that last caller who's very wise. And we know that this country was infiltrated. And that's why there's two groups, the black hats and the white hats. And the white hats for the last 40 years have been concentrating on what are they going to do about it. And we've gotten to a place and a time, okay? This currency exchange is actually a prophecy from China. The Chinese knew a long time ago when they were washing our shirts that one day their country would come in and save our country. This is a prophecy of theirs. I think it's 400, from the year 400 AD, I believe. But the point is that those white hats, those good guys, they're not the ones that are putting the chemtrails up in the sky, and they're the ones who are helping bring in a currency exchange. So as far as whether or not Paul Ryan is or isn't, that's not really a fair question. The fair question is the people that are here now, do they really have any power? Okay, so when you hear that Obama is running another string on gun control, well, you know it's really just comes from a bully pulpit. That anything he says is because he's allowed to say it. Because, well, for a short period, I guess the devil gets a short period of time that he can do whatever he wants. Now, that's not calling anybody the devil. It's just saying that from his bully pulpit, he can say anything he wants, but not necessarily mean anything. as you know, Obamacare has been shot down in the Senate and the House by the Justice Department. The Supreme Court justices have shot down a certain portion of the Obamacare, and it's not going to move forward. So that means it's just a little due diligence of saying that whoever the guy is on the bully pulpit really doesn't have a voice, which is another reason why he plays more golf than any president ever has, because they don't want to disrupt the American public by saying the first black American president has been taken from his power of position. Okay, so the Chinese have always requested that there would be a regime change in the United States. Now, you can go back and find all this information in the rules and the guidelines of the NASARA. If you go to the right NASARA site, you'll find out that there are changes that China has requested. China is not going to hold the American public over the overspending and the recklessness of what the cabal has done to this country. It has been allowed, and we're not responsible for that. They're going to still allow us to have the currency exchange. Thank you, China. And the White Hats are going to put into place what they've asked for. That means a change of the POTUS, a change of the direction of how this country is going to hold itself, to stand up tall and wear a nice white cowboy hat, and the House and the Senate are supposed to be changed out too. No more bar try, no more lawyers making decisions that the people need to hear. Jerry, I'm going to hand that back to you, having said that.
Thank you, Philip. Have a good day. So next, we're going to go to Port Lucia, Florida, 772. Come on down.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, I've got a couple questions that really go back quite a ways. And one of them has to do with something that Tony was very adamant about in saying that when you opened up your initial deposit account, whether it's you're going to be your mother lode account, you would sweep that mother lode account into a second account and close the first one. And that the rationale behind that was to prevent IRS surveillance of that primary account. And I was listening to Ray's call just a couple of days ago, and Ray totally discounted that comment, and because somebody else was asking him about that. And my perspective on this is very straightforward. As far as I'm concerned, anything that we can do to build any kind of a barrier between ourselves and government surveillance is something that we ought to do. So that I'm trying to find out what the latest intel is on this, because I didn't get any substantive response when I was listening to Ray's call about it. So that's my first question. And I don't know, I've got a couple other ones, but I don't know if you want to take them in sequence or what you want to do.
How about one more, and then we'll go on to the next. Just to be fair to everybody else.
I understand
the first one,
that. Okay.
The IRS can look at everything. And if you're going into the bank and you open up a brand new account, yes, sweep it into another one. But if you already got and this is the way I understand it, that if you've already got an account open, if you've opened one and you've got a second one open, like I've done, you can put it in that second one, and they'll never see it because it's already been the first account's already been established. and the second one is out of the public's eye. So you shouldn't have to sweep it from one to another. Does that make sense?
Well, that would depend on, basically what the access was. I've talked with Wells Fargo about setting up separate accounts, and of course this is something that everyone has to do on an individual basis. So, and of course their rules are fluctuating, as we know at this time.
Sure.
So I'll go back in and talk with them again and see what they have to say. The other thing that DC recommended very clearly was don't put all your eggs in one basket, which means basically don't tell your initial contact what your total currency holdings are. That's a real decision, because then basically you're looking at how can I maximize my return, because when we're going for contract rates, we know we're going to have to sign NDAs. We know that our wife is going to have to sign them, whether they're in town or not. Of course, you can always get your spouse to sign the NDA in another location. That's not going to be an issue. So my concern is how to split up the funds in a way that makes the most sense. And the numbers are so staggering now that it really becomes maybe almost a moot point, but it's still, as far as I'm concerned, makes sense to to find a way to split up your investment.
So take all your cash in, go into the bank, let the one bank do all of your exchange. Then move it to different banks, but don't shortchange yourself by saying, well, I'm going to take so much here and so much there. Take it all in, get everything you can get for it.
Yeah, Jerry, remember though, there was discussion a couple of years ago about prohibition of any wire transfers in excess of $500,000.
That was out of country. As long as you're doing
I didn't read it that way. I'm sorry. I didn't. When I was listening to those calls, I didn't get that sense. But if you're telling me that that's what you've researched, then I accept that.
And I listened to the same thing that you did.
Okay.
And I got smacked down pretty hard by the mods over there at TNT when I was trying to bring it into cosmic oneness. No, you misunderstand. No, I didn't misunderstand. But that was an out of country transfer, and even then, if you're going from one legitimate bank talking to another, even if it's held up, it's not going to be for 30 days, I don't believe, because you've shown where you bought the currency. If the banker has an issue with it,
mm-hmm.
And if you're going to another internationally recognized bank, they might hold it up, but I don't think they're going to hold it up for a full 30 days, because this is business that happens every day. People transferring millions of dollars around the country in this system. You got to understand, with the new system, the SIP system, everything is transparent. You heard my string bikini dude there in Puerto Rico. This new system, within seconds, it was so transparent they found out what they were doing and they stopped it. Now the SWIFT system, you have to remember, that's from the cabal. That went through the BIS, all the central banks, and that was a way. I'm going to stop there, because otherwise I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Yeah. I get
anyway, get what you can at the first exchange. All right.
And I think the other thing is that everybody basically ends up combining their totals with their spouse, regardless of whether they're depositing in separate accounts, because that's in total interest of the bank to deal with it that way.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerry. You're doing a great job. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So what happened? Oh, no. They put their hand down, and I was getting ready to call on them. A little panache. I like that name there. Last caller, Monroe, Louisiana, 318. Come on down. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hello? Okay, yes. My question is, I've been looking up the Zimbabwe currency. It states that since 2009, it's defunct and no longer legal tendency for the country. So I want to know, why is it that people are promoting it, stating that it's going to be worth some money? You can exchange it when it's been defunct and not legal tender since 2009.
There's been a lot of talk about that. There's been a lot written about that. And in the last call, you've heard several people talk about it being a historical bond. If you have some, I suggest you hold on to it. And when you go in for your exchange, throw it down there and they'll say, yes, sir, this is what you're going to get for it. I think you're going to be surprised.
Okay, but you don't know of any information that I can find anywhere that actually will state that this should be converted to some kind of currency exchange later.
No.
That's what I've been trying to find.
You're not going to find it.
Okay, so it's basically just more speculation than anything.
I tell you what, hold on to it. And before you go in, if you feel so badly about it, I am more than glad to take it off your hands. I'm a poor person, and I know exactly where to put it.
I haven't purchased any of it yet. I've just heard all the information on Intel and Intel Room or whatever about it, and I'm just really trying to search and find out some additional information about it, and that's as far as I've got. Only information is just that it was a default currency, and nobody used it since 2009. That's all I found.
Right. So you've listened, you've read all the blog. If you're here, you've been at other places, you've heard about it. Now it basically boils down to this. If you want to take a chance, take a chance. If you're concerned about it, that you might be buying wallpaper, don't buy any. Nobody's going to twist your arm. Nobody's going to twist your arm.
Well, that's true. I understand that. I know that. I'm just trying to find as much logical information as I can based on some type of research methodology. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, everybody, I want to say thank you. I want to go ahead and just spool it up for the day. Hope that some of your questions were answered. I'm probably sure that some were not. My apologies for the website being down, but I'm going to address that as soon as I hang up here. But it's going to be up. I'm going to tweet out the replay link here as soon as I hang up or end the call. And I want to thank everybody for participating. So at that, I'm going to stop the recording. Wish everybody a